My name's Jakes and welcome to my creative world. So today we're going to do a little bit of power management and see how we can make this look as neat as possible. So, like I say, I am in creative, so that's why I'm flying, and there's going to be no build cost or anything like that. But what we are going to try and do is showcase how to properly wire these things. Now, in general, this is probably what you're going to see, something like this, where everything just kind of like gets daisy chained and it's just the spider's web of absolute anarchy. Right, generally that's kind of how it goes. So level 1 of making this look slightly better is, and this is what I used to do in the beginning. I'll grab a PowerPoint, I'll put one, if I look at the edge there, I can put one right there. Then from here, you're just going to link one again, and you're going to put it right there, link that to the machine, and basically just so on and so on. Alright, and there we go. I think we can do better than this. So there's another technique we can use, so let's get rid of these power cables again, or power poles. Right, for this technique we're going to need a roof. Alright, so now that we got a roof, the other technique is to connect them directly to the roof. So from here, you basically just run it straight up. So the downside is you're going to have a lot of cables just kind of like hanging down from your roof. So whilst it could work, I think we can still do even better than this. Alright, so for the next technique, we're going to use a beam that goes up from here, from this side over there. And it's going to go slightly up just above the PowerPoint and we'll go all the way across. However many machines you need it to go across to. And it's going to end up here. So let me show you what that looks like. Alright, so now with the roof removed and the beam added, all you need to do is, with the beam in place, is again, grab your power line, put that one there, hook it up to the next one, then you just hook up the machine, and you rinse and repeat until everything is hooked up. And there we go. So that's the beam technique to just kind of do a little bit of cable management. What you can do from here is just add one there, and add one there, and from here you can go down below and you can have your power go through the floor, or you can have the power go up to a roof section or wherever you prefer. But in general, this is how it looks. This is the beam method for cable management. Alright, so let's see if we can do this even better. Right, for the next one, which is for a very long time was my preferred method, we're going to need to make a little blueprint. So just for demonstration purposes, I'm going to add a machine in here, which is not going to be part of the blueprint, but this is just to kind of show how it looks and what it does. So we add a machine in. So now that we've got this one here, what I want to do is I want to go from here and I want to connect it directly to the floor, but not using a power pole. Alright, first thing you want to do, you want to grab a beam, and place the beam horizontal. And the reason we want to do it horizontal is so you connect this outlet right on top. So we're going to place it right there. Then from here we want to get it right below it, and we want to make sure that it is 100% below it, directly below it, right? And we'll lock that one in. That now means that this one is connected to the bottom one, and this one's going to be where your larger floor is going to be. So let's finish up the blueprint. What I would want to do is I want to go to beams again. So architecture, and I want to grab one of these beam connectors. I'm going to want to place this one here and nudge it over one. Right there. And then I'm going to grab, just to make it look more interesting, grab this 0.5 one. Place this one anywhere, because all I want to do is I want to just get this one below it. So we're going to use that just to move it around. Lock it in with H. And then just mini nudge it into position. Get rid of that one now, and we want to do this side, so just nudge that in position. In fact, before we do the other ones, let's just quickly do this. So there we go. Let's mark that one as well, and then this one. Let's get rid of these. Right, so now we've got this little connector here that you can place next to a machine, but obviously you can see it's slightly offset. But what we can do now is remove all of this, and we'll save this one as a blueprint. Now, obviously, if you prefer to use 2 meter or 4 meter walls, you're going to have to make a template with that in mind and make it either 1 meter, 2 or 4 meter, depending on what your preference is. I prefer 1 meters, but that's up to you. All right, so this one is going to be I mean, you could call this whatever, but let's call this a Logi floor power connector. Perfect. All right, and what we want to do now is we want to connect all of these machines up and trying to hide the cable as much as possible. So for this one, we're going to have to go to blueprints again, grab this connector, and you can place it right next to the machine and just nudge it down. I'm going to do one end. There we go. And I'm going to do this for all these machines now. Alright, with all of them in position, now you just simply need to connect all the machines. And then as a last point, you need to obviously be using a logistics floor at the bottom, or if not, you can just simply go below and just connect them. And then from here, just connect this to whatever power point that you want. So there we go. This is the slightly neater one. I've been using this one for quite a while on my machines, as you can see in these examples right here, and it works out pretty good. I do think it's slightly neater, but there is one way that we can even improve this more than we currently have. So let me show you the final technique. All right, so for the final one, this is going to be, I think, probably the neatest one that you can do, and if you do it correctly, depending on the machine, you might not even see a wire at all. So first thing we're going to do is grab this one, and we want to connect it below. Now you'll see there's going to be a big wire coming straight through here, and that's perfectly fine, because what we're going to do now is we're going to grab the outlet and we're going to try and target this cable, as you can see there, and we need to just try and, there we go. So now that we have it, we're going to put this connector in between them. And to make my life a little easier, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to add this beam here. It doesn't matter where it is. And you'll see now why I do this. So let me grab the outlet again, target the cable. There we go, grab it. So you'll see if I put it down here, the cable will kind of follow it. But all I need this beam for is just to nudge this connector to where I want it to be. And I'm going to effectively just hide it in the machine. Now, some machines will allow you to do this very well. Others are a little bit more restrictive. So let's see if we can use the constructor. So I'm thinking probably like there might be a good idea. Place it in there so you can see the cable is now kind of hidden, and will still work perfectly fine. So that means that this machine, I wonder, can we do that even better? I kind of think not. Let's give it a go. Maybe something like this. Okay, that's actually slightly better. So we can see now our cable pretty much almost entirely hidden. Now, let's get rid of these constructors and see how that looks on some of the other machines. And actually, the bigger machines will make this look a hell of a lot better because you've got more room to hide the cable. So just we're going to chuck this one below. Obviously the one below doesn't matter too much, but just put it wherever you think it's convenient and wherever works for you. Right, so same story, grab a connector, first target the cable, grab the cable, lock it in there. So let's see where we can hide this one. So probably something like there. Yeah, that could work. And just make sure we don't see the cable kind of going visibly through anything, so you can see the cables there. So let's see if we can do that slightly better. Right, we'll grab outlet again. Now the tricky thing is sometimes you're going to struggle to actually aim at the cable. one way, and then you just have to kind of make it work. So I think if we remove these, I can more easily target the cable. There we go. And we're gonna lock it in there, and let's just move this in position. So don't worry about the cable that's way over there. What you want to focus on is where the hologram is, because that's where the cable's going to connect. So when you move this around extensively, the cable will look like it's doing some weird things like you see over here, but don't worry about that. I'm thinking probably there. There we go. That's pretty neat. Right, let's replace these. Alright, I'm going to do a couple more machines and I'll show you the result when I'm done. Let's have a quick look. So with this one, you can kind of see the cable going through. You can kind of see what I did there. And I'm sure if you mess around with it a little bit more, you can actually hide it a lot better. This one is pretty good. The only place you can see it is there's a connector right there. But the cable basically goes through the machine and it pops down below. There you can see. So we can maybe even do that slightly better. And the cold journey is actually quite good. So the cable obviously connects there, and you can see there's another connector, and there's another connector right over there. And if you look close, you can see the cable going through there. And if you position these even better, you can probably get a better result by hiding that cable to have it go maybe in and then down, something like that. And for the refineries, a nice option is the cable actually goes straight into that point right there and goes straight down all the way to the floor, and from there you can connect it to wherever you need to. So those were my 6 techniques. I gave you guys a bunch of options. So we've got the mesher connections, which is the laziest way of doing it. Please avoid that, it also looks the worst. Then we've got the neat power poles, which is just nicely spaced. Slightly more effort, but also the amount of effort kind of corresponds with how it looks. So it looks organized, but it's still a bunch of cables going around. Then we've got the roof connection, which is also an option, but again, you've got cables going every which way. And then the third option, and then the fourth option is the beam, which shows a little less cable, but you do have to build the beam, and it's quite visible and it's quite clearly that there's a power management happening there. The other one, which was my preferred method for quite a long while, was the logic floor connection using our blueprint that we made to connect them neatly to the side. Again, you still have visible cable, but a lot less of them. And then the final technique, which is the one I'm currently using probably going forward, is to hide the power cable entirely through the machine. Your best bet is probably to make a blueprint of each machine that you want to hide the power cables for, and just have the machine plonk it down, and you'll have it already good to go instead of doing this every single time, and that's just going to save you a hell of a lot of time. And that's it for power cable management. I hope you guys enjoyed this little tutorial. And then lastly again, I'd just like to thank my patrons for your continuous support. Feel free to check out my Patreon, the link's in the description as well as the pinned comment. And you can grab a couple of free ones in there. We recently added a Fixmas blueprint that you guys can use to decorate your factories with. And while you're there, just feel free to grab a bunch of free blueprints. There's also exclusive Patreon blueprints, my world save, and a bunch of maker prints. So if you want to support me, all those will be available for the various tiers. And yeah, that's it. Thank you all, and I'll see you on the next one.